What's up, everybody? This is NBA at the Bar, and we're your host. I'm TA.
This is G Money.
And we are ready to talk about that NBA action because, like I always say, it is fantastic.
There it is.
So this NBA is cracking after All-Star Weekend. But real quick, folks, before we get started, I need you to do me a quick favor. I need you to sit over and like, subscribe, and download. Like, subscribe, and download. And G Money, let me ask you a quick question. So what are you drinking on?
I am on the Shield Dag.
The Shield Dag, your old faithful, huh?
Yeah, it has.
You've been converted, huh?
I've officially, because I was a JB guy.
You was a JB guy.
I did, but I'm in the Scotch family, so
you're still in the family.
In the Scotch, yeah, I'm with the Scotch.
And I'm on the Claude Chanteler.
Come on, say it 3 times fast.
I gotta get back to my French dictionary to find out what Chanteler means.
Oh my God,
Claude Chanteler.
I feel like you need a beret and a cigarette.
That is tasty. Yeah, I need some. Church on the move.
Yes, sir.
So we've gotten through that All-Star Weekend, and this is when you really start looking at the NBA. Kind of like forecasting and prognosticating where we're going to be at for the playoffs. Right. And as I started doing that, getting ready and seeing where we're at and trying to create some assumptions for myself about where we're going to be at in the NBA and for this year in basketball, I sit over here and I look at the Eastern Conference.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny. We grew up in a time where the Eastern Conference, you might have had one good team and everybody else was mediocre to sorry, right?
Yeah.
We saw that in Michael Jordan's age where they weren't sorry, but Michael Jordan and the Bulls were such head and shoulders above everybody else.
It was a foregone conclusion.
It was a foregone
They're
conclusion.
Correct. Who's going to face them in the West?
Correct. We saw that with LeBron in his time with the Cavs,
and Miami, quite frankly.
And Miami, right, dragging these teams to the championship. And then I look up and, from the eye test, it appears, I conclude that the East is much stronger. But then when you go to the standings, when you dig into the numbers, it just doesn't feel that way. So, my question for you is this the same old tricky ass Eastern Conference, or are we in the midst of an evolution? Are we in the midst of the East being strong? At least I wouldn't say dominant, but at least strong compared to where they have been in some of their best years over the past 20, 30 years.
Well, it's an interesting one because yes, the Celtics are the class of the East. They are literally 8 games or 7 games above everybody else that in 2 and down. I think 2 is the Cavs right now. They're 7 back. Then you have what is it? I think it's
you have Milwaukee.
Okay, so Milwaukee, and they're 8.5 back.
Right.
So and I don't see either one of those guys catching them. I just don't.
No.
So so the rest is almost like the Celtics and then the Eastern Conference.
Or the rest boo-boo. Or the rest, or at least not very good.
No, because the years that we have seen that the East has been truly dog meat, they've had guys that are in the 6, 7, 8 seed that have losing records.
True.
So at least now you could say
they're 500.
They're 500 or better.
Right.
So it's like, no, they're not sorry. And maybe that's like a baby step for them because the West has always had the 500 plus teams that are playoff ready. And the East is kind of like, they just lucked up and it's just we're the lesser of the shitty ones that make the playoffs. And we know that we're going to get knocked out in round 1. So, but to answer your question, no, I actually think there are some legitimate threats. The only one, I'm not a believer in Milwaukee. I'm just not, to be honest with you. And quite frankly, the Cavs look good, but I'm not necessarily sold on them either. The sneaky good teams to me are who's going to win out of that 4-5 matchup, which would be right now, it's looking like it's the Knicks and the 76ers. If Joel Embiid comes back, they're a problem. Just, like you always say, write it down, take a picture.
Right.
If Joel Embiid can come back and be just Joel Embiid, with the acquisitions that they picked up at the trade deadline, they are going to be a problem for the Celtics.
But this is so I think we're unanimous in our thought process that the Celtics are by far the team to beat in the East.
Yeah.
You know, I sit over here and I look at Porzingis, and for whatever reason, that has been the missing piece. And Porzingis, you know, I've been a Porzingis fan since he was with the New York Knicks, and then he got traded, and then he never seemed to live up to the expectation and the hype that surrounded him when he came
got
into
that
the
unicorn nickname,
league.
and he has been unicorn on the shelf.
Correct.
Because he's often and always hurt. And quite frankly, he's been hurt this year too. But
he's been effective when he's played, like monstrally effective.
And what makes him so scary on this particular Celtics team is they're not asking him to carry the heavy load. Mm-hmm. So he's like icing on the cake. He just comes in and maybe he'll drop 20, maybe he'll drop 30, maybe he'll just do 15. But it's the threat of him is what makes them overwhelming.
And when he does 15, that means the other two superstars on that team are killing it. So it's a great symbiotic relationship on that team that I really do believe that though we have very individualistic stars on this team, that they mesh well, they play well together, and they're willing to give the night for the hot hand, which is very rare when you have people, because they all have extreme confidence, almost a slight arrogance. You know, Tatum has arrogance, Brown unequivocally has arrogance, and so does Porzingis. But they dampen that.
And then
need to.
What's the name of the brother who he finally cut his hair off, and because he had that 5 line, you know, it's like people had a 4 head, he had a 5 head for a long time.
I can't think of his name.
Yeah, he played for the Spurs. But he's playing really good. And then they have Holiday, so it's like
they have Holiday. I mean, this is a hell of a squad.
Gluttony of riches.
Gluttony of riches that they've put together. Which you have to have from the East to be able to really compete with the West, because the West is so daunting. It's so stacked.
Yeah.
But really the question is obviously, I think we can say with confidence that the Celtics are the team from the East.
I agree.
But who is that one team other than the Celtics that can compete with the Celtics? Because the Celtics can beat themselves. They can just implode one day. And I don't foresee that happening, but that they can beat themselves. But outside of them beating themselves, what's the other East Coast team? Whether it's New York or Philly. You said Philly.
I said Philly. I honestly believe there's 3 teams. It's the New York Knicks, which is a super duper reach.
It is, especially with Randall being out.
Yeah, it's a reach, but Jalen Brunson and
some type of magic with him. Like it fits so well. He's playing with such confidence. Yeah, I agree with you.
And let's say, you know, in heart and just they're basically, they are all good, and they would all have to rise to the occasion and play. I know Jalen Brunson will play above, you know, let's say his statistical average, but they would, for a series, would have to play all well above their averages, but they are a defense-centric team. So,
which not to cut you off, but that also, a defensive-centric team makes or forces the Celtics to play lower.
Yes, because it's going to be more of a
they don't
grind
hit their
out.
Ceiling; they're actually closer to their floor.
Yeah,
because it's a grind out game.
It's a grind out game, and we all know that. You know, scouting reports come in, and when teams get to like lock in on you and your tendencies, then it's just about, will Jalen Brunson and company like rule the day? Will they be able to sneak and steal a game? Because the only way that a team like that would win a series is they'd have to steal a game in Boston and then hold home court. And that's how a team will beat that. The same thing is true for the 76ers, as I said. And then we
got to see how Embiid's going to come back after the injury.
Right.
Because, you know, we can't expect Embiid to come back to his MVP form as soon as he's back. Right. I think it takes some time. And so what happens is that what can disrupt the 76ers being in a position to meet the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals is because they've fallen so far back. I mean, because now they're down to what, the 4th seed?
Yeah,
if
they're
I'm not
fifth.
mistaken, the
They're
5th seed.
fifth.
So they're 5th seed, and then even with Embiid coming back with, say, 20 games left or 15 games left, that's not enough time for them to make a real impact on their position. So they have a lower position. They don't have home court advantage. And then you're sitting over here and having Embiid just kind of getting back to himself to be prepared to win a first round playoff. Now, let's say they get past that first round. Then you're talking about, are they going to really get past the second round before they have to pay, or they would actually play the Celtics in the second round?
That's where I would see the
ready.
Magic. Yeah,
is he ready?
So the secret for them is what is it? 25 to 24 games left in the regular season. If Joel Embiid can come back and let's just say he has a solid 10 to 15 games to just get himself retooled,
reacclimated,
and to himself, then I think they picked up Buddy Hield, right? So Buddy Hield,
that was a great pickup.
Yes, it was.
If he gets back to playing at Buddy Hield when the Lakers wanted him,
and right now, because the Embiid is not there, Buddy Hield is scoring a lot, and then they have Kelly Oubre, and then Lord knows Maxey is a monster. So it's like, if all of their characters blend together, and they can be a threat to the Celtics, because then what you're really saying is, okay, with what we just talked about, the gluttony of riches, if Tatum isn't like ultra dominant and it becomes like a half court instances where it's Joel Embiid versus Porzingis, and he's gonna eat him like barbecue chicken, as Shaquille O'Neal would say, and it's like, then okay, now we got something, because now we have these actual shooters around to where Brown and Tatum may not be enough in a given series now, and we know that before Joel Embiid got hurt, that they were easily number 2 or number 3. They could have easily been a number 1 seed themselves. So the talent level is on par. That's why I would pick them. The other team is the Miami Heat, because the Miami Heat, it doesn't matter if they're the 10th seed, if they can find a way to sneak in, and then they play the Celtics in the first round, Jimmy Buckets is Jimmy Buckets, and they always seem to find a way to ruin somebody's.
I definitely feel you on that. I would strongly encourage you and Miami to want to get to that next level, that next step. Because playing the Celtics with Porzingis is one thing. Without him, yeah, they got action. With Porzingis, it's a different ball game, and I just don't think they're deep enough to compete with that team.
You're right.
How it currently sits.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it was a Jacquez Hickman.
Jacquez.
Yeah, and they got
I love that
Robinson,
team, but Jacquez is still a rookie, and we have to understand that these rookies hit a wall.
Yeah, it's the Miami system. These are not just like Strus who's now with the Cavaliers, right? They always find a way to get these guys that just end up playing at a super high level. Martin, they end up playing at a super high level in high leverage moments, and it's like that's in their DNA. So they're. The thing that's scary about Miami Heat is they're not afraid of you, and they're not afraid of the moment. So then it's just like, can we as the Celtics just ramrod them? You're gonna have to destroy Miami.
You're gonna stomp them.
Yeah, they're not going to quit.
But here's where my thing is. I think it's easy to sit over here and look past this team right now because they're not playing at their optimal. They're in influx. They're going through transition. But when the dust settles 20-some games from now, and people are now in their roles, people have gotten acclimated to the new coach, I truly believe the Milwaukee Bucks are probably the greatest threat. And the reason why is because you got 2 superstars on that team. And again, let's not ever forget, when we talk about the Cleveland, when we talk about Miami, when we talk about all these other teams that are good. We talk about Indiana. We talk about the Knicks.
We didn't even mention Indiana, right?
This game is still ran by superstars.
Yes.
And this is a team that has 2 legitimate superstars. And at the end of the day if these superstars rise to the occasion, we know Giannis can rise to the occasion. He's been there already. We believe Dame has unequivocally the ability, but even more than that, he has the desire and the want because he's been in the doldrums with Portland his entire career, to where you put him in a position to actually get there, he might fuck around and go crazy. All these motherfuckers, you know what I'm saying? It's like, ain't nothing you can do with him. And we see when Dame goes crazy, a 50-piece isn't.
And the playoffs is about focus, right? So one of all of the things that you can say is that a team that on paper should not be afraid of the moment because they have championship medal in that group. They, Middleton, they have Portis. What's their center that I can't think of his name right now, but
Sabonis?
No. He's one of the twins, but yeah, he's. I can't remember his name.
Okay,
just it's escaping me, but he's arguably been like in the Defensive Player of the Year award a couple of times.
Yeah,
and he shoots.
He's Eastern European though.
No. He's American. His brother was on Milwaukee. His brother has
not Lopez.
Yeah, Lopez.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. I couldn't think of his name. Yeah. So yeah, Lopez.
I knew their uncles. Okay. I used to play with their uncles.
Oh, look at you, OG.
I don't want to. Yeah, I was aggressive on that.
Yeah, well, but that's okay. A dunk is a dunk. If I got you, I got you. Shoot, somebody needed to take a picture. But nevertheless, they have guys who have played in the finals and have won it. So, yeah, it makes them a legitimate threat. I don't believe in them. And that's why I kind of am somewhat dismissive.
Shame on you, because you know what? You don't believe in Giannis and Dame? That's shame on you.
Okay.
Again, if they're put, all I'm saying is they're put in the right position. Boston Celtics not quite as healthy as they need to be in that second round. Taking this team lightly because they got Doc as the coach. Whatever the scenario is, that you have the Celtics not playing at peak performance. Yeah. They can fuck around and get dusted by this team.
Yeah. The Celtics could get got, but I think this is their mission. You know how you see certain seasons, especially because they lost in the finals, right? They got there and then they wet the bed against Denver, right? Just last year.
I don't expect that to happen. If they get to the finals, let me retract that. I don't expect them to wet the bed. What I do expect is that they get to the finals and they're running on all cylinders and the shit is fluid and it's cracking. It's gonna be we're in for a fucking unbelievable finals.
Yes. Yeah.
Whoever if it's OKC, if it's fucking Minnesota, if it's Denver, if it's the Clippers.
You love to tell me about this Minnesota boy. I granted their record says that you should.
But I mean, at the end of the day, we're still a week after the Minnesota. We didn't see a dip from them. We haven't seen a surge either. So just speaking of that, going over to the West, OKC is looking monstrous. Yeah. The concern is that they're young, but OKC is looking like, I really don't know if because of how much ammunition they have. Yeah. I really don't know if there's a team in a 4-game grinded out, even though they're young, even though they still got Similac on their breath. I don't know who really can fuck with this team on a 4-game series, grind it out, or 7-game series, grind it out, first 1 to 4, let's play.
Right.
With SGA, because that team looks good.
I know. And if I'm the Clippers, I'm still kicking myself because they had them.
You got to still kick yourself with that because
granted, the Clippers of
what he grew into, and it just shows you that the Clippers front office and their scout teams were on top of their shit because they saw this motherfucker when everybody else didn't. Yeah, but man,
he's a problem, and what really makes him a problem is that he's very patient. So he, in a half court set or in transition, it doesn't matter. He gets to the spot that he wants to get to, and I don't care who's guarding him. I will herk and jerk and jackknife my way, kind of like a taller Brunson. So Brunson does a lot of like movement and action to get to the spots that he wants to get to and gets his shot off exactly the way he wants.
It's still a quiet 30-piece. And you know who was like that back in the day, and some people might not recognize, is Paul Pierce.
Yeah.
When I played Paul Pierce my senior year 3 times, and he had a quiet 30-piece every time.
Yeah.
33, 32, 35. Quiet 30-piece 3 times in a row. But he was so efficient with how he got down.
Yeah.
And SGA, obviously a different position, a different era in the game.
Yeah, because they have him. But she's really a shooting guard / small forward, but they play him at point guard.
And that's what makes him so powerful.
Yeah.
Is because he has the ability to be at those other 2 positions that would obviously misposition him. But as a point guard, man, he's a frigging monster. And so, okay, the top of the West is so close. You got them and Minnesota tied. I know you're not a Minnesota fan and you don't think
just
they
not
can
a
do
believer.
It.
I think they're good. I'm just not.
And guess what? Then Anthony Edwards is the next Michael Jordan. So if you don't believe in Michael Jordan, you shouldn't believe in him. And I get it, it's not for everybody.
He does not deserve that moniker. But okay,
hey, he done told people, that shit's real. And let me tell you something, this dude's special.
He is but
special.
Well, like all of the stars that are special, you got to do it when the lights are the brightest.
Well, he's going to have that opportunity in the next couple of years because they have a team wrapped around him
the next couple of years. We'll do it this year, sir. Do it this year.
Well, but this way, we saw Michael shit the bed multiple years until he finally graduated.
Until he finally got Horace Grant and Scottie Pippen.
Right, correct. So let's not heap all the pressure that you got to do it in year 1 or you ain't shit. He is a special individual. That's why I said it's a couple years and he's young, but he's got a splice of that DNA.
I see it because there is a ruthlessness to his game. There's a fearlessness to his game. And that's what you really want to see out of what one of the main guys on your team. I'm just even as talented as Cat Williams is, I'm not, let's say, a believer in him kind of like standing up to ultimately
because
Jokic.
He's been known to be soft as a baby's bottom.
Yes, and then there is that man from Yugoslavia or wherever the hell he is named Jokic. And I can see him with all of his tricks and doodads, the Joker. I can see the Joker just giving him the business.
But here's what twist is. Cat is unique in terms of he don't got to be the scorer. You can kind of give him a task. And if you give him a task and have him lock in, that he will die trying to sit over here and fulfill that task. So if you tell him your task is to sit over and lock that motherfucker up, and probably how that team is set up, that wouldn't be the individual to do it.
You're gonna have to double.
No, it would be
Gobert.
Gobert just, I don't care what you do, just lock him up. Just fight with him.
But traditionally, and we've seen it a couple times now, Gobert is barbecue chicken to Jokic. Jokic sees him and like giggles, like, "Oh, okay,
then
defensive player."
But here's the twist: is you put Cat on him to do it,
or you're gonna have to double,
or you double with both of them. If you double with both of them, then you take him completely out the game. But you don't want to do that, and you almost don't want to put Cat on him because what happens is
you're gonna get
him in foul trouble, and you're gonna significantly reduce his offensive output. Now here's what the twist is. Then you have Anthony Edwards, and there you have the red carpet to sit over here and be the man.
Well,
and that's a team that's set up when you have a 3 like that, especially they're unique. Usually the 3 comes from 3 front court.
Yeah.
Or 3 backcourt, excuse me.
Yeah, backcourt. Yeah, I get it.
But now you sit over here and have 2 front court. It's a
they
mix.
have Twin Towers.
It's just a unique mix in terms of a big 3 that they have.
The last time that we have seen, let's say, a style of play, in terms of personnel like that, was probably like the San Antonio Spurs with David Robinson and Tim Duncan. Because,
yes, unequivocally. And you saw what that did.
Yeah,
that's what gets me excited.
Yeah.
That unique mix
and they had Elliott.
is very difficult to fuck around with.
Yes.
Fuck around to find out.
Yeah, it is. And then if you have just good to serviceable guards, and that's what I think. What comes is it Mobley? No, who's their point guard? Well, it's not important. They have a solid point guard, and then they have the slasher / Michael Jordan light in your boy. So okay, on paper they could do it, but we've talked about a couple of teams, and I would actually lean more towards your OKC because I like Chet Holmgren.
I like everybody.
Yeah,
let's throw a party for these motherfuckers. The problem is they wet behind the ears.
Yeah, I would, and you know what? I can't even believe I'm going to say this out of my mouth because I'm like, damn, a Clipper. But the Clippers, I think, would even be more of a threat than even OKC, even though OKC.
The matchups. OKC's a bad matchup with Denver. Oklahoma is a great matchup with Denver.
Yeah.
Because they're big enough, you know what I'm saying? So obviously matchup makes fights.
Yeah,
styles make fights.
Right.
So that's the deal. And if the Clippers can go on a run,
the Clippers should be one of the favorites.
Push Denver down to the 4th, and they get to the 3rd.
But that's a big if.
Well, all I'm saying is it's within the realm. It's not that big of if. It's this big of if. It's not this big of an if because they're only within a game or two. So you're talking about you go on a 5-game streak and it flips automatically. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so you could sit over and put Denver in the 4 to have to play OKC. That OKC can beat Denver. Then you have the Clippers against the Timberwolves. Well, shit. It can get very interesting.
Yes. Well, you and I are going to be watching this playoffs together. So we're going to have our banter about that. But at the end of the day, I just feel like Denver is the defending champion. And there's just something about, like, they may be like, because right now, even with them coasting, they're still number 3.
But I sense a complacency. It's funny that you use the word coasting. You feel that from the eye test. You feel the coasting of what they do.
But when they want to step up, they dominate.
But you and I both know that is not ingredients that lead to winning. When individuals sit over here and think they can coast and they can just flip that switch. We all know that people that already have that switch on beforehand, that light's going to burn brighter than the ones that just flipped it on right before.
I don't disagree. I think you're right about that. The only other, let's say, the caveat or retort to that is when you've done it before. So when these are high leverage moments, big games, primetime TV, we've been to the finals, we know where our mindset needs to be, and then you got a new team. And here comes OKC, and OKC is finally arrived. And guess what? And now we're on bright lights, big city, baby.
But here's the only caveat. I agree with you. 100%. This is what I can say about that.
And we have a home game.
Is this one thing that when it's like a team like Cleveland that could happen to, that I agree that scenario can work. It's another thing when you have youngins that just don't know what they don't know. And then, you know what I'm saying?
That's the mentality.
Like just young, wild, just Bambi legs going all over the place and just we gonna go.
Yeah,
it's different when they don't know what they don't know. Yes. OKC don't know what they don't know, so they can be so talented, so filled with confidence.
Because nobody's expecting us, so why not us?
And just not a fear of the moment.
Yeah.
Whereas we know when you have a team where Harden's your third best player and he can be filled, he can sit over here and understand what that moment is and that booty hole get tight. We can sit over here and talk about Paul George is still never won.
This is what I love about the playoffs, though, is because what you really get to witness in the playoffs is whose booty hole gets tight.
Hey, everybody booty hole will get tight, but some booty holes get so tight to where they can't move, they can't function. And we've seen, but on the flip side is, you talking about the Clippers that say they might understand.
They might.
That this might be the best opportunity because the number one is light in the booty. And even though it's a bad matchup, we can go in there and gangbang on them a little bit aggressive,
a little rough,
and throw them off of their game. Like you have this year, and God willing, you have next year, and after that, your window's closed. And if y'all don't get a title in the next 2 years, and then what's so unbelievable is a game between the Celtics and the Clippers would be phenomenal.
Oh,
a series,
you know what?
A series, there's a lot of series that can come up out of this.
Phenomenal would be a series between the Lakers and the Celtics. The Clippers would be like, "Oh, you made it there! Great job!"
You see, in years past, I would agree with you, but at some point in time, we have to be in reality in terms of where we're at with our LA team.
Yeah, I'm not going to talk about the Lakers this episode because
there ain't shit to talk about.
There's nothing because they're mediocre right now. And they haven't earned the right to have a discussion about them. And I literally took half the episode, the last one, to talk about it. So I've shot all my bullets out of the. I've shot all my rounds.
Yeah.
Say.
But let's talk about a team that is Laker-like in terms of they've grown to be a league favorite, but also, like the Lakers, are dwelling in that 8, 9, 10, spectrum.
That pool of the bottom half.
But they appear even more than the Lakers that they got more gas in the tank.
Yes.
And that's the Warriors. Here's where the reality is. I don't foresee the Warriors being the pushovers that it perceived them to be.
Nobody wants to play them in the first round.
Nobody wants to play them in the first round.
Who in the hell wants to play Steph Curry in the first round? And I
don't even think it's Steph Curry. I think Steph Curry's mature enough to understand that we're going to have to do this as a collective.
Yes.
It ain't going to be me being the great because I'm getting old, and I ain't
but
big.
He's if you really watch
he's playing
him,
well, yes.
I think he may have had like a gaff game here or there this past week, but generally speaking, Steph is playing the best of his entire career. So he's, to me,
but it's all off intelligence. It ain't off of physical ability.
Right. It's intelligence and setting people up, and it's just he's so timely. The truth of the matter is when you are an excellent shooter like that, it's really about when you do it. And he knows how to hit devastating blows to teams. And they are a little team. They are a guard-centric team. But what he's getting a lot of help from guys like that. I think he's a rookie. The Podozimski.
I don't know if he's a rookie, but I do know he's injected himself into this team,
and he looks phenomenal. He's taking minutes away from our
Clay?
From Klay Thompson, but it's deserved.
Thank God, yeah. I mean, Klay Thompson's old,
Klay
and
Thompson is
injuries.
still Klay Thompson. So
he's old and he's injuries. You give Klay Thompson an open jumper. That's why you bring him off the bench. When Cats is a little bit tired, get Klay up in there because Cats ain't really running through these screens.
Yes.
And get Klay up in there, and he's going to still hit the open
But when
jumper.
we talk about people who've been there before, Klay has been there before, and in any given moment, Klay could turn into Klay for 10 minutes, and then it's like, oh my God, and now the game is over. So, the Splash Brothers are still there. He's just a little bit
delayed version.
Yeah,
of it.
he's a lowered version of himself right now, but it's okay because this kid has stepped in here. And then they have Kuminga. Kuminga is actually finally
no. We can't talk about this. Is all on the coach. Because Kuminga's been saying, I'm a bad mama jamma.
But he
Y'all not playing me.
maybe-
No, they ain't been playing him.
Yeah, it was the minutes.
It was the minutes. But
I-
now he's getting minutes. He's saying he's doing
deal.
exactly what he said he was going to do.
He's doing
For
the
me,
deal.
is the big missing piece, and it's not popular, and none of us want to admit it, but it's Draymond.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Draymond brings a certain toughness. He
Yeah.
brings a certain what's
It's
dramatically jumped up is their defensive efficiency.
Yeah.
And that's solely based off of Draymond. I mean, you can look at the numbers. Draymond came back, their defensive efficiency jumped up.
I say this, and and I witnessed this in the game that the Lakers and the Warriors played. The thing about Draymond is whatever your feelings are about him, he and Steph Curry, and to a lesser degree Clay, but he and Steph, I will say, are truly the heart and soul of that team. And what he brings is the attitude for every possession. So you need a player that is going to be a Swiss Army knife especially because you're smallish in center, that's literally going to challenge everything in the middle. And whether or not you like or dislike Draymond, what it is Draymond is a point forward that plays center. He's only 6'9", mind. Ladies and gentlemen, he's only 6'9".
I don't even think he's 6'9", to be real with you.
But
Draymond's probably, just how they used to try to say that bullshit about Charles Barkley, and Charles Barkley really mine.
Yeah. They said he was 6'6", he might be like 6'4".
Yeah. They were talking about Charles Barkley was 6'8" back in the day.
But we know that's
right.
But the thing is like, even with Charles Barkley, Draymond is in this cuff. It's about the attitude, and it's about the monster within that gets put on the court. This is why Draymond punks Rudy Gobert, who's 3-4 inches taller than him, and he punks him every time because it's like, you're not realer than me, bro. You're just not.
Rudy Gobert is also French, so.
Okay, well, but don't talk about your Chantilly. Okay? You're gonna get them mad at you.
It's fine.
Yeah, okay.
It's fine cognac.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? No,
you love the cognac, not the players. Okay.
Hey, I love France in general, but at the end of the day, America had to come through 2 world wars to go save.
Okay, history lesson.
No, but the reality is that Draymond brings a grittiness. Brings an aggressiveness to the game.
It's undeniable.
That is completely missing. And what this tells you is that everybody talks about, oh my God, the scoring's up and nobody's playing any defense and yada, 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 yada. But what the game actually still needs and still is still effective is that grittiness, is that hard, that hardcore aggressiveness.
Yes, there's too. I think
they've tried to take that out the game.
I think they have, and I think that the league in general is too friendly. Like I had a buddy of mine that actually just showed a clip of Chet Holmgren and Wembanyama going at it and going at it like hard, like I don't like you, and it was like, thank you. This is exactly. It's been so long since we've seen that the competitiveness being played at a level like that, where it's like, no, I'm not going to have somebody else guard you. I'm going to guard you. This is star on star. I'm going to prove in this game, in this moment, that I'm better than you. And we're going to clash. But
here's where the reason why is.
You don't see enough of that.
But here's where the reason why is. It's because when you grow up with these cats, when y'all became friends before you got to the league due to AAU, due to these camps.
Yeah, they're too friendly.
The sleepovers. Remember when we used to have sleepovers?
Yeah.
The kids that we had sleepovers with when we were kids are still our closest friends now.
Right.
30 years later.
Right.
Well, when you go to AAU, wrestling. Right, unequivocally, right. The old school that came on regular TV. But when you have AAU, you are slumbering with these individuals. You're in the same domicile, the same dorm room or dorm area. You understand what I'm saying?
We get the same snacks from the same vending machines.
Same vending machines. You're sitting over here and having those late night talks.
Yes.
So these individuals are friends. The difference is that Chet never did that with Wimby.
And Chet, and it's like Chet just realized, you know what? I'm about to show the world that I'm better than him.
Chet sat over here and said, "This cat, I was supposed to be Wimby, but I got hurt, and the world moved past me, and I want to take it back."
And I feel a certain kind of way.
And Wimby's like, "Okay, I feel you,
but I'm that dude.
But I'm that dude." And guess what? He's that dude.
And you know what?
And as great as Chet is, Wimby is He's cut from a different cloth.
But you know what? I think that they played themselves to a standstill because when if you watch that game, even though I think OKC won the game, but what you really saw was Chet held his own. Chet won
the initial deals.
Well, I mean this most recent.
The most recent one, but the reality is it's getting closer and closer. But that's going to cross before the end of the season. Yeah. Where Wimby has got enough games under his belt.
Wimby just needs talent around him. Wimby just needs like one other guy.
But forget about that. Just on the one-on-one, Wimby is just getting stronger. He's learning what the league is. Chet was in the league, got hurt, but he got better and got a chance to still play with these cats. Wimby was in France playing with the wee-wees.
The wee-wee.
Before that. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
So he still had to take that time, and he's younger. So he still is, a year matters. One's 21, one's 20. That year is different. Like in terms of the maturity on the body. And so you see Wimby exponentially getting better because he's getting older, he's getting fuller, he's getting stronger, he's becoming more a grown man.
And if he does a strong offseason and does like a Kevin Garnett type of offseason.
Wimby Chet can't fuck with Wimby 2-3 years from now. Like right now, take a picture. Wimby will be because Wimby is for really an alien. Well, and as simple as an alien.
Well, how about this? Dare I say I'm going to challenge you to a duel? I'm like, where's my fence? My white gloves and my fence outfit, because I actually think that is not a foregone conclusion. Because I think Chet Holmgren is talented enough, and he's also, like you said, he's 21. And guess what? He's going to have an off season also. And he's going to work on his game also. So there's no guarantee. This is like at every level. Anybody who's played hoops at any level realizes that it only takes one summer. I could be the guy who is on the bench, and then I could be the starting superstar if I work in the summer.
This is how I look at it. Think of LeBron when he came into the league, and then the cat that came in the league the year before him was supposed to be the man. And that cat before he's good. He's a shit. And he's going to work on his game on that all season because he sees LeBron coming. But LeBron's just cut a little bit different. He's just a little bit different.
So you really believe that Wimby is about to be the bee's knees?
Wimby is doing something. But here's the only thing that kind of keeps me calm down. I'm not really getting out of control. Is that David Robinson actually had better stats than him. Not by much. I'm talking about they're close. But David Robinson's a little bit better in almost everything except assists. Now, here's what the twist is. The league was different then.
Yeah. And
the league got a lot of monsters now. And you got a whole lot of monsters coming. And let me tell you something. There's a lot of monsters in the fucking G League.
Yeah.
There's a lot of monsters in the G League.
This is a interesting era because this is about skill versus an era of physicality and will. I think that the days of the David Robinsons, the Patrick Ewings, and the Shaqs, that it was about physicality and will. Yes, we know the fundamentals. We know the fundamentals. We've had to go through the Kevin McHale's of the world to graduate ourselves to a certain level. But we have a will and a willpower and a determination that I don't see in this crop of talent. But what I do see is that they have skill. So what ends up, let's say, negating some of the will is that they just are so skilled at so many things.
And here's what the reality. At the end of the day, when the rubber meets the road, skill will beat will every time.
Yes, but
unfortunately, we come from, and I'm a will centric individual.
Yes.
But I do know that skill,
Will
because will can be taken and make them be off balance. Because you can draw the will in because they're coming in hard charge, and they sit over here, and then you can get them leaning in a certain way
yes.
to catch them slipping, and that's how them catches over there get laughed at and falling.
I agree.
And so skill still
that the
circumvents
skill
or
is winning.
supersedes.
Yes,
will,
and it is right now in the just the lexicon of the seasons that we're watching. The only thing that is, I think, that is now where will is coming back is that you're realizing, how do I persevere when I am meeting somebody who is at a close to or similar or exact same skill level, and then it becomes about the attitude. So what you end up seeing is that there's certain players that don't have the monsterish attitude to essentially exert their skill set, and even if it's like, I can just beat you with this one jump hook, but I'm gonna beat you with this one jump hook all day because I know now I have a way to chink into your armor. And you don't always see that with guys anymore. They're
but I think we're gonna see that this year. Okay. That's what I think this year, this championship, and I could be wrong, but I do believe like kind of how it's going to work out and how it's going to unfold is you're going to have skill versus will in the championship, and we're going to see which one reigns supreme.
You're right.
In this day and age.
To me, the team that is going to represent the East and the West are going to have the perfect balance of both.
No, I don't believe that.
Well, not perfect, but a close balance.
I think one is going to be one that's going to be the leading indicator for him, and I think one is going to be the other.
Okay.
And maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I kind of feel that's where we're going to be at, and we're going to be able to watch this unfold because we are at a transitional point in the game.
We are.
Where there's still lineage of will, but skill is trying to co-opt the game and take it in a different direction.
Yeah, and you know what? And there's a little bit that's being lost, and I think that I almost feel bad for the youth, because when you have this number of 6'9", 6'10" plus guys that are essentially playing as guards at the 5 position, that they're not doing the things that are very distinctive to their size, like boxing out. Like they don't really box out anymore, which is an obvious and easy way for you to get easily 10 to 15 rebounds a game if you just focus on that. They're not really like doing enough in the box itself. So they're so concerned about being a stretch individual or being able to face up and take somebody off the dribble, that they are not using the God-given physicality of just, you know what, let me also learn jump hook left, jump hook right, let me do drop step, let me do a drop step power and hit the guy and knock him off of me so that I can now dunk the ball. It's like all of those skills that were pretty much fundamental to all big men are now being lost. And it's like, you don't understand that it's also about getting easy buckets. It's not just, oh yeah, I can do all these things and I can fancy and shock and all just like a guard. Yeah, that's great. But guess what? When we get into these half court sets, I need to be able to throw it down to somebody and have them just give me a guarantee. And that is unfortunately being lost on this generation of big men.
I agree.
And so it's a guard centric world that we're living in. But the team that figures it out or the players that figure that out are going to rule the day. And the one guy that I see that has both of those things mastered is Jokic.
I would agree. I just think that the cats that are hungry. And I don't care what you say. We all know that he's not passionate. He doesn't love the game like that. He doesn't love
Oh,
the
you talking about
grind.
Jokic? You don't think
Jokic. I mean, no.
I,
He's showing
you know what?
he doesn't he just wants to go out there and go do a job and get paid and sit over and go be with his family. He doesn't have
That's
that grind of just, I got to have it. I got to be the greatest who ever did it. And if he did, he could have been.
Well, the thing about Jokic that's interesting is I think this happens to all great players, and I think you would have to attest he's a great player.
Oh,
unequivocally. Is that he's gotten a bite of the apple. He's actually won a championship.
That's what I'm saying. And so when you have that bite of the apple, that fire dampens. I don't say it goes away.
No.
It dampens.
Here's the other thing. The true Hall of Famers.
Let me just ask you one quick question. Does he have the desire to be the greatest who ever did it?
I don't know that. But I think he's European, and I think that Europeans, I think he could be in, like, say, a Dirk Nowitzki kind of way, because Dirk
never wanted to be the greatest, and he could have been.
No, but Dirk didn't want to have his career end without winning a championship. So for one season and one season only,
he was greater than that. He's the greatest player in Dallas Mavericks history, and he only got the one.
But what you saw for that one season, you saw Dirk play with a different focus, right?
Imagine if he played a career like that.
Correct. That's the difference between Dirk and, let's say, Shaq and Kobe.
Correct. That's what I'm saying. That's the difference between him being great,
or Larry Bird, even
and Larry Bird did have that. He had that cut. He had that grind. He came from poverty.
And I always want to. I've mentioned many times on here. I've mentioned Larry Bird, but I also think Kevin McHale had that. I think Kevin McHale was also a guy.
Shout out to Kevin McHale.
Yeah. As much as I hated him because he was so good, but Kevin McHale, to a very small degree, Robert Parrish, but really Kevin McHale.
He was ready to take that fade. That's what I loved. That's what I respected about him. I didn't love him. I respected that.
Kevin McHale owned the block. He had about 5 or 6 different moves off of the block, and he was just a problem. And he was 6'10", 6'11", and he was a problem on that block. He was
a white version of the Dream. The Dream had those 5-6 moves.
Maybe slower, but he would. I
just posted on the NBA at the Bar page of highlights of Dream, and you saw the same moves. Right. Being played against different individuals. It's a set of 5 moves that I'm going to sit over here and get the ball to the basket no matter what.
No matter what.
Was the same
the no matter what part is what we're really talking about, is that with these superstars, it's like no matter what, high leverage moment, we need a bucket. We need this bucket. It needs to happen, period, end of story. You give it to that guy, he is going to deliver, and in any form or fashion.
But McHale didn't have to ever deliver in that moment because it was going to Larry Bird. That's what the difference is.
Well, but I would say that through the conference, you have to say that any championship team, all championship teams have guys who step up in moments. And Kevin McHale stepped up in moments. It wasn't Larry Bird
for
all
sure,
the time,
without a doubt, for sure.
There were plenty of moments to where I was like, damn, Kevin McHale. He gave it to him again. He's like, I'm going to give you all my head fake you to death. And then, now I got you, boom, and one. And now I'm going to the free throw line, and I'm going to make my free throw. It's like, there's just certain guys who do that. So when we just getting back to the general point, we're talking about guys who have skill versus will. There's a lot of guys who have skill, and they're more concerned. Even Anthony Davis, to a certain degree, is like this. Is that I'm more concerned with showing the world the display of all of the things that I can do, but I'm marginalizing myself. I'm going to be a master of nothing and be really good at a whole bunch of things. Where it's like
but I think there's a place in that in the NBA for those individuals, and the reason why, the difference between somebody who chooses that route versus the one who chooses to be great at a specific thing, and
just decent and good
going to be great.
Things. Yeah.
And you
because
talk
it is about greatness.
Steph
Steph
is a prime example of.
Mm-hmm.
He chose to be great at something like great, which propels you to greatness. If you choose to be very, very, very good at a plethora of things,
you can also choke at all those
but
things.
also the word that's left out of that is greatness.
Mm-hmm.
It's great.
Mm-hmm.
Steph chose to be great. Now,
Mm-hmm.
again, he has lineage. His daddy was one of the greatest three-pointers. So
pedigree is what you really want to say.
My man, you should be that great.
But you what you can't negate about Steph is, yes, he came from pedigree. Yes, he had the DNA. Yes, he has a brother. There's proof of the DNA.
Right.
But Steph decided to dedicate.
He decided, yes.
And
Anthony Davis did not choose greatness. Steph did. Great people choose greatness. What do you mean you don't know?
I will say this.
He's been in the league for almost a decade.
I think, yes.
You're going to choose it.
You're right.
Great people choose greatness. LeBron chose greatness. Kobe chose greatness. Steph chose greatness. KD chose greatness. Jordan chose greatness.
Durant.
Magic chose greatness. I said KD.
Yeah.
Magic chose greatness. They're individuals that choose it.
Yeah.
AD didn't.
Well, here's the thing that, and I'm going to lie now, because I said that I said I wasn't going to talk about the Lakers, but I will say this just in regards to.
And we're going to finish it up with the Lakers. Ladies and gentlemen, I didn't want to talk about them.
I know, but
they're not worth talking. But G Money,
but it's my team. But look. Anthony Davis has an opportunity within this season. I think that the two players on that squad are D'Angelo Russell and Anthony Davis. If they decide and if they choose greatness, and if they really commit themselves to saying,
Russell's not great.
Do it.
No,
Russell is unproven.
So let's not ever talk about Russell in the language of greatness. We can talk about Anthony in the language of greatness, but we can't talk about Russell.
Yes, Anthony Davis. At the end of the day,
will he choose it? He has to choose.
Will he?
No, fuck greatness. Choose domination. Greatness is putting the cart before the horse.
Mm.
Him choosing domination gets him to greatness.
Yeah.
But you don't have greatness without domination.
The only thing that I can say about him through, let's say, majority of this season that I have not seen in seasons past is that he's available. He's playing through injury. He's playing through it. He's playing. Where that doesn't
include greatness.
No, it doesn't.
For us injecting the Lakers into this, I didn't want to do. But you chose to do, and the church on the move, because the Lakers are always a great topic. Here's what the twist is. AD, you have a counterpart that's already made the choice.
Yeah.
He's already proven it. He's already done the deal.
Right.
Everybody is waiting on you to do so.
Right.
And don't talk about you playing well in the bubble as you sitting over here choosing greatness.
You're right.
It has to be anything, and I'm not discounting their championship by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm talking about for this individual player.
Yeah.
Your greatness has to come from outside of that bubble.
There's going to have to be a moment that is going to be a career-defining moment for him to say, I need to win a ring other than the bubble championship.
But he had a chance to do that last year when they made it to the conference finals, and there's a less odds of him doing it this year than last year, and he had that opportunity to do it, and he didn't do it.
I agree.
So here's our twist is, there's no way we can sit over and bet that he's going to do it now.
Well, we're not. I'm not putting money on the Lakers. I'm rooting for them.
But I ain't putting money on the Lakers. Are you putting money on AD being great?
I think that AD...
Are you putting money on AD being great? Yay or nay?
No.
Because he's what? a shrinking violet. The last time we said that, that motherfucker went on a run.
I know, but it almost makes me feel like either he got spies or somebody's listening to us. Because the minute I called him a shrinking violet, all of a sudden he took
played
off.
the best he ever played.
The best he ever played. I was like, oh, did he hear me?
Yeah, I hope he did.
Did
he
the universe tell him? But and then that I found that very amusing. But here's the next thing, right? That I would say is like my parting a statement for Anthony Davis. Look, bro, this is the year to where you're going to have to shock and awe. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to make this a career defining year, to be like, I'm going to dispel all the myths. I'm going to basically dominate. And do I think he's going to do it? I don't have faith that he's going to do it, but I hope he does. But I don't have faith, because I don't think.
So I feel everything that you're saying, and I definitely get it. And all that does is to sit over here and put us in a position to, there's a whole lot of things to be unfolded in this season. And I can tell you that we don't have all the answers now. No. The West is completely different from the East. The East, we kind of know how it's going to unfold no matter what. Mm-hmm. The West, we don't know where the top is. Is it going to be OKC? Is it going to be fucking the Timberwolves?
Is it going to be Denver?
Is it going to be Denver, which I don't believe is going to win the deal? Or is it going to be the Clippers? That top four there still needs to be some shit happen. And injuries can sit over here and trick that.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of things that can sit over here and determine what that top four is going to be. And I think that we know in the bottom, what would that be? The bottom six, how that's going to kind of unfold. Mm-hmm. So the reality is we still got a lot to play. We can prognosticate pretty confidently on the East. On the West, we don't know, because you got the Suns.
It's a lot of parity.
I don't
even like talking about Phoenix, but Phoenix is there though.
But my point is that there's a whole lot of teams that are there. They're the Pelicans. It's like I can throw out a bunch of teams that are in the mix. So we got to still let that play out to sit over here and see how we're going to finish.
Yeah.
But speaking of a finish, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't sit over here and speak on this earlier because I wanted you guys to really get a feel of this episode here. And the reason why this episode is different than any of the episodes you've seen us do throughout the season is, unfortunately, this is G Money's last episode.
It is.
G Money has had the grace and the blessings to receive a tremendous opportunity that doesn't allow him to continue to do this show and facilitate and take advantage of the blessing that's in front of him. And at the end of the day, as much as I love doing the show, we have
such great chemistry.
We have great chemistry,
and it is with a heavy heart, quite frankly, because I appreciate everybody just listening to us and all of our banter and our bullshit. It's like it's been very encouraging and inspiring to see that we're not alone, that this is a unified effort. So all of the attitudes and opinions that we share, that is also shared with the audience that are listening to us. And there's a lot of you out there. There's thousands of you out there that are really like engaged with what it is that we're saying, because that we're talking that real. And so it definitely is with a heavy heart that I have to say that this is going to be my last episode. But it's
going to be his last episode.
Yeah.
He, at certain times in life, opportunities present themselves to where you can't pick what you want to do over what you got to do.
Yeah.
And when an opportunity presents itself like it has, G Money has to do what he got to do.
Look, bro, you made me take a sip on that. I was like, oh, yeah.
So with a heavy heart, we're gonna have to say goodbye to G Money. Now, I'm not gonna say that we might not get him on the phone, or we might not have him pop in and say, "Hey."
Yeah.
But from the most part,
or if they fire me, I'm back, baby. I don't know.
But he's way too talented to ever get fired. He's way too special to ever get fired. So that's not going to ever happen.
I know.
We might be able to get him just to pop in and say, "Hey," but at the end of the day, is he won't be able to be my co-host, our co-host on this show, moving forward. And I just want to say I appreciate you.
Hey, my brother.
Coming to do this with me.
Yes.
When we took off on this endeavor many weeks and months ago, and chose to commit ourselves to this.
Yeah.
The reaction from fans, what people say that this is their go-to favorite show every single week. It's so much to do with your finesse, your insight,
my passion for the game.
Your passion for the game.
Yeah.
And so, it's going to be very, very, very much missed. And I will tell you this, going through this show, I had to bring back my eyes watering up because I'm going to miss you so much.
I know.
And I truly appreciate everything that you've done and everything
I'm gonna miss you too.
To the table.
It definitely is heavy on my heart too. But the other part of it is that I believe in this platform so much so that I think that between you and I'll be working in the background. The movement is let's talk this basketball over drinks. Mm-hmm. And that's the movement. Mm-hmm. You know what? This platform is tailor-made to the audience that we're speaking to.
It is. But I will tell you this. We're not going to get up out of here without finishing up our drinks.
Hey, look at you.
And me toasting to you.
Thank you, brother.
My appreciation for you being a part of this and us really enjoying.
Man, it has been so much fun.
What has
so
been.
Much fun.
And I wish you all the success. I wish you all the greatness that I know was in front of you. And you wouldn't be leaving this bad boy if you didn't have to.
No. And if they come back and give us $200,000, damn that job. Okay? Damn that job.
So with that being
said, right back.
I love you, brother.
Okay.
Church on the move.
Church on the move.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you next week because we will be back. Appreciate you all being with us. Appreciate you being with us, G Money.
NBA at the bar, ATB.
Baby!
What it do?